what happens if you didn't develop a self and you've got kids? And so you're so used to suppressing your feelings that when your kids have feelings, you have big feelings about their big feelings, and you want them to just not have feelings because it's so much more convenient to not have feelings, right? Because you didn't have feelings and weren't allowed to have feelings, so why do they get to have feelings? And it's not this whole thought process where you actually say those things out loud. It's just an automatic response to them having big feelings and what to do about it, right? Well, one, it's not going to be one of those situations where you get to take a tic-tac of vitamin C and everything's fixed. That's unfortunately not how any of this works. It didn't happen and you didn't suppress your feelings all in one go. It was over the course of time that you suppressed your entire body and you end up bedridden as a result of how you suppressed yourself, right? So it's not going to be a take a tic-tac and it fixes it. That's not how that works. It'd be great, right, if you could, but that's not how it worked in placing it, so it's not going to be how it is. You're going to have to be patient with yourself to unwind the clock of finding yourself and unwind the clock of taking up space. Something I have found to be extremely helpful in that process is, those things that make you go from being completely calm to being completely agitated, whether that's your kids having big feelings, or for me, one of them was having a mess, right? Anytime there's a big mess, I went from being zen, and I knew why for the mess. There had been enough trauma things in my life, I knew, but I thought I'd become the villain. Often when we go from calm to triggered, too mad, it is because we're triggered. I kind of gave that away with the trigger, right? But what that means when you're going from calm to this angry place, this triggering place, is that there's something dysregulated within yourself, something that's off, that's not okay within yourself. And that's fair, that's okay. We went through experiences that caused that to happen. But in that moment, there is a part of yourself, say a child version of yourself, that is stuck in the experience that you had in the past. And so it needs you to help you back then, right? So in this case of the mess, I would say out loud to my childhood self and my child what I needed to hear as a kid, which is, it's just a mess. We all make messes when we do things. We just got to clean it up. That's what I needed. I needed the mess to not be a problem. I needed the mess to be able to be something that could be cleaned up. I didn't need it to be the end of the world. So I started saying that out loud to myself and to my kid. And the realization that it was my childhood self trying to protect itself by getting angry and pushing away the situation. And then that understanding combined with vocally, literally, and audibly saying out loud the thing that I needed to hear as a kid, dissipated that situation. So when it comes to those big feelings you're suppressing and you're not even realizing you're suppressing and you're feeling them tertiary, you're not going to all of a sudden be able to express them or know what they are or define them. But at the end of the day, you can sit with yourself and you can say, what is it that I'm feeling, right? And maybe it'll be hard and maybe you won't have right words. Maybe you'll be like, I feel off. Guess what? That can be right words right now. And you can describe where it is to yourself. I feel it in the bottom of my heart, the muscle feels tight and hard, or the inside of my leg, and you can feel where it is residing in your body. That's you taking the time to connect back with yourself. That's you taking the time to explore what you're feeling, even if you don't have the right words, because you don't always have to have the right words. It's you're baby stepping here. We need a 1% change. So at the end of the night, or at some point during the day, sit with yourself. Start paying attention to what your body is actively, physically feeling. Define what feelings you can. Sit with yourself when you're capable and how you're capable. But it's baby steps. It's these tiny 1% changes that make a huge difference. And you being able to come to the table, and that when your kids have a big feeling, not feeling like it's horrible that they get to have access to that. The reason you have that reaction, you want them to suppress it, is because your childhood self is mad. And it's fair they're mad. They didn't get to express themselves. And that's sad. That's hurtful. That's so much. But you get to give that gift to yourself now. You get to sit with yourself. You get to explore what works for you. But it's not going to happen in the midst of your trigger. The work that you're wanting, the change that you're wanting, happens outside of those moments. Because it isn't in those moments that I was getting triggered that I could all of a sudden offer that to myself. I had to do the work of exploring what CPTSD was and what triggers were and what had happened for me to understand what was happening in my body when I was having a trigger, to then be able to vocalize out loud to myself. It isn't a thing that happens instantaneous in one particular moment. It is something that happens over the course of time, and it's a beautiful gift that you can give to yourself. You're worth that energy and effort.